I bought me some windshield wipers, but the rain did not come down.
I like to make responses on Facebook, and sometimes just as a natural course, these responses become more like little essays. I just let them flow, just like my work. I try not to judge it. I can't say there's not a critical eye, that there's not some kind of filtering process that's going on, because a lot of times my compositional process is a filtering process. Anyway, Zach Ballinger is a writer, a philosopher, just a brilliant human being in general. We got to spend some time together years ago in the guitar studio, and I'm inspired by this guy's work all around. He's a musician, a leather worker, among many other things I know. We really haven't connected one-on-one in quite some time, but I am certainly looking forward to that chance when we get to sit down and play guitar again. Here is Zach Ballinger's post and my tiny little essay response. Here's what Zach says. I write little fun facts with my nightly reports packet and give cool quotes on the weekend. This is what I sent today. I'm glad they accept my weirdness. I'm going to have to make an investigation about what Zach's referring to here. It sounds like he's got an audience and I need to tune into his work. Weekend words of wisdom. It's no measure of health to be well-adjusted to a profoundly sick society. Krishnamurti. I bet he got picked on at some point in his childhood/adolescence. Imagine how comforting this idea would be. You all throw things at me and call me names, but little do any of you know I'm actually the only good person in the whole school. Oh, and Greg. Then Zach says, his quote, which I still love, at its very essence is, "No, you." Fascinating. And hey, Zach, if you've got links to places where your work is published or where you're presenting your work in community, could you please send those over to me? I'm a huge fan of creators, people who make things, people who write things, people who compose. And Zach, I consider you one of those creators. I'm a fan of your work, and I appreciate that you have ideas and that you got this logical framework that you're developing. A logical framework for creators is essential. Here's my response. We might look at Krishnamurti's statement as an inquiry into true authority, which is what it appears that you did indirectly when you stated Krishnamurti's "no you" stance. Krishnamurti was constantly reminding us of the path of "no you," which is a meditative emptying response to our cultural conditioning. There are no stances. All stances are a result of conditioning and are therefore substanceless. Is there a stance which transcends all stances? Where does true authority come from? Who has the authority to arrive at conclusions? Here is a deeper question. Who has the authority to look at our culture and manifest a compassionate education to help us through our obvious collective illness? The answer is no, you. Einstein said that we cannot solve any problem from the same state of consciousness that we created it from. Are we intelligent enough to take a painful look at the human condition and include compassion for the whole deal, myself included, self-compassion? Am I willing to leave behind the me, no you? Am I willing to somehow attempt the impossible, to become the love that our seemingly hurtful and unlovable nature insists upon, that wounded child's insistent cry for help? And when I say become love, I mean, in the tradition of Krishnamurti, to disidentify from our cultural programming, to be liberated from all form. Impossible, I know, but you're the one who started this. You, the Son of God. There you go. Try to deny that one. Start talking some shit. We have so much to discuss. This is a real question, and not an attack. Have you read Krishnamurti? You may be correct that Krishnamurti was picked on in school, I don't know, but that doesn't mean necessarily that the statement is one of petty self-righteousness, as you characterize so humorously. Oh, and Greg, and I'm not sure that I'm getting what you're alluding to there. I read it in this way that was humorous. You may be referring to some pop culture thing. I'm not sure. Here is one alternative to the "I'm the only good person in this whole school" scenario. Just for instance, if one is born into a society in which war and prison systems are for-profit institutions, then one might come to the conclusion that it is a compromise of integrity to align oneself with that society. There is a lot to say about that process. Also, I read your somewhat recent "I'm a shit talker" post. Your verbal skills and above-average critical thinking do qualify you for that role. I agree that we certainly need to practice our ability to communicate directly, sometimes fiercely, and I would like to suggest that equal parts compassion and generosity are also necessary. Merely talking shit is not enough to really help. I do not want to assume that helping was your goal, but you do write with a friendly, communicative tone that seems to want to bridge that great divide. I'm suggesting that traditional shit-talking may not necessarily be our highest form of communication. I truly think that it's insightful of you to lead with our tendency to become self-righteous when we see the sickness of our society. That is a common result of religious ascension, and ascension of any craft, practice, or form, including all the forms and language that you practice. There are stages of realization along every line of development. I'd like to continue to help one another to contextualize our journeys. And if shit-talking is that path, well, consider this response a log in mouth, brother. You want to talk Krishnamurti with someone who has read and meditated? Let's do it. If you are only interested in belittling, traditional shit-talking, I won't have much interest. But I think you are onto something here, even with your willingness to engage enthusiastically in what you call shit-talking, which I do not believe that you mean in the sick, conditioned sense of self-protection and self-righteousness. It appears to me that you and I have the same intelligent affliction. I see you, I love you, and I appreciate what you are bringing. Know you, good point. Who has the authority to talk shit? What can we know? And how can we know what is knowable? Oh yeah, and who has the authority to talk shit? And here's Zach's shit-talking post. Hey, I am a shit-talker supreme, and I am accurate as fuck. Write me and fight me. Pick your topic, but there has to be a topic to keep things going. I'm gonna sell shit-talking. I'll wreck you or you will wreck me until we get along. I love it so much. Shit talk is real. You can come too if you're good at it. We will sell it. Devastate me in capital letters. I love it. Write me and fight me. Pick your topic. Write me and fight me. Pick your topic. Pick your taco. And here's Zach's response to the original post. Travelin' Trap. No, I may have some of his quotes up in my noggin, referring to Krishnamurti, but I never read any of his. But I feel you. I think that sometimes when I give people shit like this, I'm giving myself some shit too. Like how I've loved this quote of his for years, but then out of the blue, I was like, wait, do I love this quote because the stuff I wrote? I certainly did think similar things when I was picked on in middle school. Hey, side question. What do you think about enlightenment versus illumination? Like how Gautama was enlightened, but at Masonic lodges they call some people the illumined master so-and-so. To be honest, I haven't read a lot of anything spiritual for the last, 6 years at least, unless you count Jung's alchemy books, but even then, it's just a few pages at a time. If you had to condense Krishnamurti's overall philosophy in just 4 sentences, what would they be? I just Googled a good entry point to his stuff, and it sounds like I would dig it. Zach continues to say, I hope my shit-talking doesn't come across too abrasively. It's really hard to find any real truth, and the biggest part of me just tries to find it by smashing through ideas, especially if they're stored in a fancy treasure box. It's not the healthiest way to do it. I don't want to be the guy that scoffs at someone when they share some of their truth. Maybe one of us will one day find a cure for our affliction. I'm currently trying meth, and so far it's been pretty nice, LOL. I joke. And love you too, man. Okay, Zach, here's my enlightenment versus illumination answer. I think, the Gautama enlightenment, the Christ enlightenment is about know you. And an illumination in an institution that comes with titles is about the reinforcement of you, this particular manifestation of consciousness that I call me. So that's my quick answer on that one. And here's my 4 sentences on Krishnamurti's work. I by no means want to present myself as some kind of Krishnamurti scholar. I had a 365-day devotional from Krishnamurti, and I don't have it with me, so I'm not able to reread this stuff, but I'm going to make these statements based on just kind of like the impressions that I got from the readings that I've made. The you think you are is not you. The you that you think you are is a result of the conditioning that you've received from society. We may somehow have a preconditioned experience through this process, which we call meditation. But don't fool yourself, because what you think that is not it. And so, as you can see, really, I think just through my recollection, I think I've just kind of joined Krishnamurti's teachings with all the other teachings about I amness that I've ever consumed.
The transrational blues is that in us which will not quit.
Transrational blues. My blues are so branched on the tree that the mainstream blues, whatever that is, can't even recognize it, apparently. It's called the transrational blues. It's the blues you sing while you are breaking the performance stage chains, but you're still looking for your people to sing with. We must know our own authenticity. Once we exhaust the rational mind sufficiently, it can be surrendered into the big mind. It is then that the rational mind may find itself in service to the good of all. This is what it means to sing the trans-rational blues. It is the blues that is sung through all genres of everything. Trans-rational blues speaks of the transcendence of the binary, the rights and wrongs, the blacks and the whites, all those ones and zeros, the offs and ons, that field out there beyond right and wrong, which Rumi and Jesus invited us to. It's deeper than all of the ones and zeros. The trans-rational blues soars above colonizer and colonized, oppressor and oppressed. The trans-rational blues is the unsingable song that heals the inherited epigenetic trauma, those familial curses. It wants to sing with the voice of the non-binary. The trans-rational blues can be heard through the deafening roar of consumer-minded insanity. Those who risk everything may be heard wailing out these sounds. The trans-rational blues asks these questions. Who do you think you are? Now, who are you really?